Welcome back, designers, to Silvia Designs. I'm Kat, and today we are working on our slide knots. Slide knots are most commonly seen on leather cord. However, this technique will work with waxed cord, rope, even micro suede. This is a classic way to make a closure for a bracelet or a necklace that allows the wearer to adjust the size. Today we are going to be using round leather cord, and be sure to stick around until the end. I have some helpful sizing tips for you. Before we dive in, please take this moment to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell if you want weekly videos about the art and business of jewelry design. Also, take a moment to follow me over on Instagram and TikTok at Silvia Designs. All right, let's make our slide knots. Now, if you remember, in our Lark's head knot video, I showed you how to make this design here. So we have our Lark's head knot down there with our beautiful circle. And then up here, we have a different style of closure where we glued those ends into end caps and finished it with a lobster clasp. So if you're looking at a design that might look similar to this, what you can do is you can use slide knots here, which is what I have as a little bracelet. And this is what a slide knot is. What I like about them is they don't require any glue. So you can just slide it along to open up your piece, and you can just pull on each side and they just slide right along. And then you can use these to close it back up, right? So you can create a bracelet style like this that I have here, or imagine this was over here on our necklace, and that's kind of what we're going to be focusing on for this tutorial. And I know that I said that I was going to talk about sizing, but let's get into actually showing you the slide knots, because I'm sure that is why many of you are here to learn that slide knot. Okay, let's get into that right away. So we have our piece of leather cord, and we have it kind of crisscrossed over because we want to create that section that's going to be doubled over, and this is where our slide knots are going to be. So I'm going to take the top piece here, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a little loop. And you can see that I have this cord kind of coming over the top there. So I have my little loop. And with this side, all I want to do is just let it sit behind there, okay? So I have my loop on the top, and I have the other side just sitting behind there. Now I'm going to hold this with my thumb right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this cord and I'm going to go down through the center, and I'm going to loop through once, and then twice, and you can see that I'm looping around and I'm going to the right with my coil there, and a third time. And on that third time there, I want to bring that cord down through and pull it through this loop. And now I'm just scooching everything nice and tight together, and you can see that come together nice and easily, okay? And you can sort of just pull on this side and pull on this side while holding the knot. And then you'll see that we have our little slide knot because it's sliding along our little bracelet there, right? So now let's flip it around, and we're going to use our other tail to do the exact same thing on the other side, okay? So now create that loop that's going on top, and we have our cord coming through the center there, and using this tail, we're going to go down through once, down through twice, and up and over. And here's our third time, remembering to coil to the right, and now come through and sneak through and grab that little tail there. And now we're gonna pull, 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 pull. I know my thumb is kind of in the way, but you're just scooching it through. Pull, 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 pull on each side there. There we go. And pull, and give it a nice little tug there. We want it to not go anywhere, right? So now we have our little slide knot bracelet. So we can pull on this side, and then you can see them come together, and we can pull them now apart. Okay, now in terms of these little tails, what I would suggest is just using a pair of scissors, and I like to cut just so there's maybe 1/4 of an inch, so you can see what that looks like, where it's just you have a little knot there. Or, you can also do a little bit longer and just have that kind of a style as well. So you have two options there. You can leave it a little bit shorter or a little bit longer there. But that is how you'd want to do that slide knot on both sides. Now, taking a look at some different sizing things here. Now, if you're doing a necklace like you would here, you might want to think about having a bigger sort of doubled up section, mostly because you're going to need to slide it on and off the head, and you might want to wear it a little closer to the neck. So if you wanted to do a tighter necklace, you're going to need more doubled up here. Now, talking about the sizing, this here is a 6-inch bracelet that I have kind of doubled over, and you can see that it's just about halfway there. So just to do a little math for you, to do a 6-inch bracelet, you're going to have your 3 inches here, and then you're going to have 3 inches doubled up over here. So we're already at 9 inches of cord. Now, these little knots, to make each one of them, actually uses 2 inches of leather. However, to create the knots, you kind of need a little bit of scrap, as you can see here. Like, you do need something on the end because you have to be like moving it around and pulling it through that knot. So what I would recommend is to actually kind of look at these as not the 2 inches of leather that it's going to use, but possibly closer to the 4 inches. If you are just getting into this, leave yourself a little extra leeway, and I would give yourself even 6 inches to do each of those knots. But if you're going to do, you know, the 4 inches like I recommend, so you have 6, you have 3 and 3, so you already have 9, so then 13 and 17. So you're at 17 inches to make this 6-inch bracelet. I know it feels like a lot of cord, but especially if you're just getting started trying to create this type of design, always err on the side of safety and cut yourself a little bit extra cord. You can also play around with a different style of material that maybe will give you bigger or smaller knots. Like I said, this is a 1.5 millimeter round leather cord. So if you're using a larger leather, these knots are going to be a little bit bigger. So take that into consideration as well. I always find that when I'm designing, it is useful to kind of play around with stuff with some little extra cord, and then you can understand the sizing. And that way also you can tell your customers, if you go to sell a design like this, you know, oh, it's, you know, it could be, you know, whatever that is, and then whatever, you know, this is. But also keep in mind, I mean, you could make these really small if you really wanted to. I mean, you could double it up, and kind of that could be your design too. So there's a lot to play with and offer with these. So when you are sizing it for someone, just make sure that you give them the right parameters of, oh, it's a 6-inch bracelet, but it could be up to this or up to that, you know, depending on the cord that you're using for that. I hope that was a little bit helpful with some of those sizing tips. Again, if you want to see this closure, I will link that above for you. And everything you've seen here, you can get down in the description box. I've linked all of the items so you can get your own leather cord and start practicing your slide knots. Thanks so much for watching, designers. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments if you are going to try slide knots on your next design. Before you go, make sure you subscribe here and you follow me over on Instagram and TikTok at Silvia Designs. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video.